An abandoned colossal warship chose a human, and the result shocked the stars. The void outside the ship was endless. Stars shone like distant candles, and nothing moved except for the small human shuttle that carried Ethan Cole. He had been chosen to join the expedition almost by accident. No one thought much of him. He was an engineer, quiet and careful, the kind of person people ignored until something broke and needed fixing. But today, he was not fixing a ship. Today, he was about to step into history or into danger. The mission was simple, at least in theory. Sensors had picked up a massive object drifting in the dark space beyond the known trade routes. It was huge, larger than any known ship or station. The old records called it the Titan, a warship built by a civilization that had vanished thousands of years ago. Many thought it was a myth. Legends said the Titan had destroyed entire planets in wars long forgotten. No one had survived boarding it, and no message had ever come back. Still, human curiosity and a little greed drove the expedition forward. The shuttle approached the enormous silhouette. Ethan pressed his forehead against the glass, trying to take in the sight. The ship was bigger than anything he had ever seen. Its hull was black, but faint lines glowed faintly like veins, pulsing with a rhythm that seemed alive. It did not drift completely randomly. It turned slowly, almost as if it were watching them. The other crew members whispered among themselves, voices tense and uneasy. Aliens of various species moved stiffly, scanning the ship with fear in their eyes. Captain Ryan Mason, a tall human with a confident voice, gave the order. "Prepare for boarding. Everyone stay alert. Remember, this is not a friendly ship. It is unknown and it is dangerous." Ethan checked his equipment, making sure his toolkit was secure. He was not meant to fight or lead. He was meant to fix and understand. But somehow he felt a strange pull toward the giant vessel, a feeling he could not explain. He wasn't afraid, not completely. It was curiosity mixed with something else, something deep and instinctual. The shuttle docked with the massive ship. The magnetic clamps gripped the hull, and the airlock opened with a hiss. Ethan stepped out first, his boots echoing on metal that had not felt human weight for thousands of years. The others followed, weapons raised, eyes scanning every shadow. The ship was silent at first. No hum of engines, no creaking of old machinery. Just emptiness and the faint glow from the walls that seemed to pulse in rhythm with something inside. They walked through long corridors that stretched farther than the eye could see. The walls were smooth, dark, and covered with symbols no one recognized. Ethan ran his fingers over them. They were not damaged, not corroded. Somehow they had survived time itself. The aliens behind him muttered in low voices, but Ethan ignored them. Something about this place felt like it was waiting, like it had been expecting someone. The first strange thing happened when they reached the main deck. Doors that had been sealed for millennia began to open silently. A soft blue light spilled from them, forming patterns on the floor. The crew froze. Captain Mason called out, "Stay together, do not split up." But the ship seemed to move in response to them. Corridors shifted. Walls changed direction. Rooms appeared where none had existed moments before. Ethan felt a strange warmth in his chest, almost like the ship recognized him. He stepped forward instinctively. The floor under his boots hummed, vibrating lightly as if alive. He looked at Captain Mason, but the captain was busy shouting at one of the aliens to check the sensors. Ethan ignored them. He walked toward a massive door at the center of the ship, a door larger than any hangar he had ever seen. When he touched it, the door opened without sound. Inside, there was a chamber filled with machinery that defied understanding. Lights floated in midair. Panels blinked with symbols that seemed to rearrange themselves when he looked at them. For a moment he thought he might be dreaming, but he was not. The hum of the ship was real, and it seemed to speak directly to him. He could feel thoughts entering his mind, not words, but ideas, feelings, instructions. The ship was alive in a way he had never imagined. He stepped further in, and the chamber lit up completely, bathing him in a soft, almost gentle glow. Suddenly, alarms blared in the rest of the corridors. The aliens panicked. They began shouting at each other, pointing weapons at shadows. Captain Mason tried to call for order, but the communications were blocked. The ship had sealed itself. The doors behind them slammed shut. Ethan turned, but he could not go back. He felt neither fear nor despair. He felt chosen. The others tried to force doors open, but nothing worked. The ship seemed to repel them, except for Ethan. He walked freely, and the corridors rearranged themselves around him. The walls seemed to guide him forward. The others watched, some in awe, some in terror. They could not understand what was happening. To them, the ship was a deadly trap. To Ethan, it was a revelation. He reached the heart of the ship, a room that seemed to contain the consciousness of the Titan itself. Ethan stepped onto a circular platform and the lights focused on him. The humming became a voice, not spoken but felt. The ship tested him, probing his mind, his thoughts, his will. It asked questions about humanity, about courage, about survival. Ethan answered without speaking. He did not know how, but he could feel the words forming inside him, and the ship received them. Outside, the crew watched in disbelief. The ship's massive guns and engines activated, not in attack, but in readiness. It scanned the stars, almost as if waiting for permission. Captain Mason could not understand why it did this for one human, but the Titan did not need explanations for them. It had chosen, and Ethan was the reason. Ethan felt a bond forming. The ship shared its history, its memories, the wars it had fought, the civilizations it had destroyed. It asked why humans continued to survive despite so many disasters. Ethan thought of his own people, the wars they had endured, the mistakes and triumphs that had defined them. He felt pride and humility at the same time. He realized the ship was not just a machine, it was a judge, a witness to the galaxy. Hours passed like minutes. Ethan did not grow tired. He felt energy and purpose he had never known. The ship whispered of other worlds, other empires, other humans who had struggled against impossible odds. It tested his resolve, asking if he would use its power for destruction or protection. Ethan thought carefully. He wanted no empire, no conquest. He only wanted understanding and survival for his species. The ship seemed satisfied. Back on the main deck, the rest of the crew struggled to survive. Aliens argued, accused each other of mistakes, and tried to force the ship to obey them. But nothing worked. Every system responded only to Ethan. He had become the key to a power that no empire had ever held. The ship did not recognize rank, species, or status. It recognized choice, intelligence, and restraint. Ethan had all three. As the first stars of a new day appeared over distant planets, the ship opened windows to space, allowing them to see the galaxy like never before. Ethan could feel the potential within him and within humanity. For the first time, he understood that they were not just small and fragile. They were unpredictable, and unpredictability was power. No one knew what would happen next. The crew was trapped, the galaxy unaware, and the Titan alive for the first time in millennia. But Ethan felt calm. He had been chosen not because of his strength or his weapons, but because of his persistence, his ability to endure and adapt. The ship had tested thousands of civilizations, and it had chosen a human. Outside the windows, stars flickered. Silence returned, but it was not empty. The Titan waited, and Ethan was ready. Whatever lay ahead, humanity had a representative, small in size but immense in consequence. The galaxy would soon notice, and no one would ever doubt humanity again. Ethan took a deep breath and stepped forward. The ship's hum resonated in his chest like a heartbeat. He was no longer just an engineer. He was a pioneer, a keeper of a power that could change the stars. And he was ready to prove that humans were not to be underestimated. The others watched, fear turning into awe. Some whispered that he was lucky. Others realized it was more than luck. Humanity, small and persistent, had survived everything thrown at it. And now it had a colossal weapon at its side, not for conquest, but for something far greater. The Titan waited, the galaxy slept, and one human held the future. Ethan's journey had just begun, and the stars would never be the same again. The chamber was silent except for the low hum of the ship. Ethan stood in the center, staring at lights and panels that seemed alive. He felt no fear, only a strange calm, as if the ship was waiting for him to speak first. Then in his mind a thought came, not his own, but not alien either. It was the voice of the ship, gentle and steady, yet powerful. "Human," it said, "you are here because we have watched. We have waited, we have tested." Ethan blinked. He did not speak aloud, but he understood perfectly. The ship was alive, not in the way machines usually were, but in the way a mind lived. It could see, think, and judge. He swallowed hard and replied in his mind, carefully choosing his thoughts. I do not know why you chose me." "Not choice alone," the ship said. "We observed, many species rise, many fall, all seek power, all seek survival. Most fail, humans endure, humans adapt. Humans persist." Ethan felt a warmth spread through him. "I don't understand, we are small, we fight each other, we make mistakes, we lose." "Exactly," the ship replied. Yet you continue, others would surrender, others would destroy themselves. Humans, you are unpredictable. You survive without surrendering, we value this. Ethan walked slowly through the chamber, looking at the panels. Symbols moved and changed when he looked at them. The ship seemed alive, almost breathing. "What do you want from me?" he asked. "To understand," the ship said. "To decide, to lead not with force but with judgment. We are a weapon of immense power. We have destroyed worlds. We have ended civilizations, yet we do not act alone. We act with one who is worthy. You human may be worthy." Ethan's heart pounded. He had repaired machines, saved ships, survived storms, and rebuilt engines that should have failed. But this was something beyond comprehension. A warship older than any civilization he knew, and it spoke to him as if he were equal. "Why me?" he asked again. "I am just me." "Not just," the ship said. "You have survived what others abandoned. You have repaired what others could not. You do not seek glory. You do not seek conquest. You endure. You adapt. You persist. That is why we watch you." Ethan tried to process it. He thought of his small hometown on Earth, of the people who never gave up even when disaster struck. He thought of engineers fixing broken ships, of farmers surviving droughts, of children learning even when schools failed. The ship was not judging strength or wealth. It was judging character. The ship extended its awareness into the chamber. Panels floated in midair, forming a holographic map of the galaxy. Ethan saw stars, planets, and systems he had never heard of. He saw civilizations rise and fall. Some had weapons like the Titan, some had nothing, and everywhere the ship had observed, waiting for the species that could wield power without destroying itself. "You have the chance to hold power that no one else has ever held," the ship said. "You may use it to destroy, or you may use it to protect. You may act in fear, or you may act in wisdom." Ethan thought of the alien fleets that had watched them approach. They had weapons, numbers, and fear, but he did not think of attacking. He thought of survival of humanity, of the mistakes his species had made, and how they had learned from them. He knew instinctively what the ship wanted to hear. "I will not destroy," he thought firmly. "I will protect and I will learn." A soft light spread across the chamber. The ship hummed with approval. "Understood. You may guide, but you must also decide. All who come after you will watch what you do. Humanity's path will be shaped by your choice." Ethan felt a thrill of responsibility. He had never commanded anything this powerful before. He had repaired ships, engines, and machines, but he had never held the fate of entire civilizations in his hands. And now, the Titan, a warship that could destroy planets, waited for his decisions. The ship shared more of its knowledge. It told him of wars it had fought, of planets it had destroyed to end conflicts, of civilizations that had risen too fast and fallen too quickly. Each story was a lesson, a warning, and a testament to power without wisdom. Ethan listened, absorbing every detail, understanding that the galaxy was not simple. Civilizations were fragile, and power without restraint could lead to annihilation. "Why show me this?" Ethan asked. "Why not just destroy us?" "We do not destroy without reason," the ship said. "We act only when necessary. Humanity has survived because you have shown resilience. You learn, you endure, you adapt. Many species fail because they seek only conquest. Humans may succeed because you may choose otherwise." Ethan realized the weight of the responsibility. He was not just a human on a ship. He was a representative of his entire species. The galaxy would judge humans by what he did next. He could feel the Titan's power all around him, flowing like electricity through the chambers, through the corridors, and even through the stars outside. "Can I control it?" he asked. "Can I really guide it?" "Yes," the ship replied. "Your mind and will are compatible. No one else can command this vessel. Attempts will fail. Resistance will be neutralized. You are chosen." The thought of what chosen meant struck him. Chosen to protect, chosen to endure, chosen to wield ultimate power with restraint. He felt fear, but it was mixed with determination. He understood that this was bigger than himself. This was bigger than any planet, any war, any empire. This was about survival and about proving that humanity was not weak or small. Outside the chamber, alarms still blared. The aliens and humans on the main deck were panicking. They shouted at each other, pointed weapons, and tried to regain control. Ethan felt a tug in his mind. The ship allowed him to sense the panic. He could hear the fear, confusion, and awe of everyone on board. It was as if the ship wanted him to calm them, to show that power could be guided, not used recklessly. Ethan closed his eyes for a moment. He focused on the thoughts of those around him. He did not shout or command. He simply willed them to understand that no harm would come unless it was necessary. Slowly, the panic subsided. Weapons were lowered. Aliens and humans alike stared at him with a mix of fear and wonder. The ship responded to his intent. Doors opened. Systems stabilized. Panels returned to normal. The vessel, massive and ancient, seemed to breathe around him, alive and aware. Ethan realized that the Titan had not only chosen him but trusted him completely. That trust was terrifying and exhilarating. Hours passed as the ship continued to communicate. It showed him energy flows, defensive systems, and hidden capabilities. Ethan learned how the Titan could move faster than any fleet, survive in any environment, and defend itself against entire civilizations. He realized that if used recklessly, it could destroy everything. But in the right hands, it could protect, explore, and preserve. "Human," the ship said finally, "you understand now. Your people have potential beyond your awareness. You may guide them, you may protect them. Your actions will echo across the stars. You will be tested again, but you are prepared. We will be your instrument, and you will be our voice." Ethan nodded, though the ship could not see him. He felt a new sense of purpose. He was no longer just an engineer. He was a guardian, a guide, and a witness to the galaxy. And humanity had been given a chance to prove that they could endure and rise beyond fear and conquest. He walked slowly to the chamber's exit. The corridors had changed again, adapting to him. The ship seemed alive under his feet, responsive to his will. Outside, the rest of the crew watched with amazement. Some bowed in respect, some stared in disbelief. The alien ships in orbit backed away, sensing the power and the calm authority of the human who now commanded the Titan. Captain Mason approached cautiously. "Ethan, what is happening?" Ethan looked at him and said quietly, "The ship, it chose me, it trusts me. It is alive, and it has given us a chance not to conquer but to survive and protect. We must learn and we must prove that humanity is worth this trust." The captain stared for a moment, then nodded. "If you say so, we follow your lead." Ethan understood that he had just taken the first step. The journey would not be easy. Others would fear, doubt, or challenge him. But he had the Titan, and with it, humanity had a chance to show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. Outside the ship, the stars stretched endlessly. The Titan shifted slightly, moving as if testing its freedom. Ethan felt the hum of the ship resonate in his chest. It was alive, aware, and patient. It had waited millennia for someone like him. And now, for the first time in thousands of years, the Titan and a human moved together through the stars. The galaxy was quiet, but not for long. Across countless star systems, sensors began picking up a massive object awakening. The Titan, long thought abandoned, was moving. It was not moving aggressively, not yet, but it moved with intent, and that intent was impossible to ignore. Messages flew between planets, star stations, and fleets. Some called it a ghost, some called it a warning, and many civilizations panicked. Ethan watched the holographic display on the ship's deck. He had learned how to see through the Titan's sensors, how to track energy flows and fleets. He could see dozens of alien fleets moving toward them. They came with weapons ready, fleets filled with warships, and their leaders demanded the surrender of the human who had boarded the Titan. "They want to take control," said Captain Mason, his voice tight. "They will fire if we don't comply." Ethan shook his head. "We will not surrender. The ship chose me. It obeys only me." The alien fleets were vast, shimmering lines of metal and light across space. Ethan realized that any misstep could lead to disaster, yet he felt no fear. The Titan's hum was steady, a heartbeat beneath his feet. It was alive, it was powerful, and it trusted him completely. One of the alien commanders, a tall being with translucent skin and glowing eyes, sent a message. "Human, you must release the vessel. We will not hesitate to destroy you." Ethan replied in his mind through the ship's interface. "I will not release it. It is not a weapon for conquest. It is a guardian. It obeys me because I will protect life, not destroy it." The alien fleets paused, unsure. They had never encountered a situation like this. A human commanding a ship older than their empires, a ship that could wipe out entire systems with a thought, a ship that moved not out of aggression but out of purpose. Ethan decided to make a move. He guided the Titan to shift slightly, demonstrating power without threat. Energy shields flared, engines hummed, and the alien fleets could see the potential in the hum. Some fled. Some held their position, confused, but all watched. Captain Mason looked at him. They might attack if we do nothing. What are you planning? Ethan thought carefully. I will show them we do not want war, but we will defend ourselves if they force it. They need to understand humans are not weak, but they are not reckless either. He reached out through the ship's control interface. Panels floated in the air, displaying holographic images of planets, fleets, and systems. Ethan used the interface to send signals, not aggressive ones, but messages of restraint. He showed the aliens that the Titan could annihilate entire fleets, but only if commanded to do so. They saw the hum of power and the calm authority guiding it. Some alien commanders were furious. "Do you threaten us?" they demanded. Ethan shook his head. "I do not threaten. I only show the truth. Humans survive not because we are strongest, but because we endure. The Titan obeys me, and I obey life. We do not attack unless forced." The ship responded to his intent. Energy flowed through its massive frame, weapons systems activated briefly, then deactivated, demonstrating readiness without hostility. The alien fleet sensed the precision, the control, and the restraint. Slowly, doubt spread among them. They had never seen a species survive with such wisdom. Hours passed. Fleets began to withdraw slightly, though they did not leave entirely. Ethan realized the galaxy was learning from him, learning what humans could do when given absolute power. He was not leading a war. He was setting a precedent. Inside the ship, Ethan explored more systems. He saw the engines that could jump across galaxies, shields that could withstand suns, and weapons capable of ending worlds. Yet, he also saw systems designed to preserve life, to repair planets, and to shield civilizations from natural disasters. The Titan was not just a weapon. It was a guardian, and it had chosen a guardian of life. Captain Mason approached him again. "You are calm in a situation where most would panic. How do you do it?" Ethan smiled faintly. "I have seen humans survive worse. Famine, war, disease, we keep going. We adapt. We endure. The galaxy is bigger, yes, but humans can endure even this." The alien fleets tried to intimidate them. Ships formed attack patterns, missiles launched, and sensors scanned for weaknesses. Ethan allowed the Titan to demonstrate defensive capabilities without striking. Energy shields flared, countermeasures deployed, and ships that moved too close were gently pushed back by force fields. No one was destroyed, but all understood the potential. A council of alien leaders convened in orbit of a nearby star. They sent emissaries to the Titan, demanding a parley. Ethan agreed, guided by the ship to open a secure communication link. The aliens appeared holographically, and all eyes turned to the small human in the enormous ship. "Human," one leader said, "how can you command such power?" Ethan looked at them calmly. "I do not command for conquest. I command because the ship trusts me, and I will protect life. Humanity survives not by killing others, but by enduring and learning." Another alien scoffed. "But your species is small, weak. How can you hold this responsibility?" Ethan's eyes hardened. "Small does not mean weak. Humans endure more than most species can imagine. We adapt, we survive, we rise. That is why the ship chose me." The alien council was silent. They could feel the weight of truth in his words. The Titan's presence was overwhelming. Every being in the hologram felt the power of the ancient warship, but also its restraint. It was not a threat without reason. It was a warning without aggression. The ship spoke to Ethan, not in words, but in thought. "You demonstrate wisdom. Your restraint is noted. The galaxy watches, and history will record your actions." Ethan nodded. "Then we must show them humans can choose the right path." For days, they negotiated. Ethan guided the ship to orbit a nearby neutral planet. He allowed alien representatives to come aboard under strict rules. He demonstrated defensive systems, shared knowledge of the ship's capabilities, and explained how it could protect civilizations rather than destroy them. The aliens were skeptical, but slowly some began to understand. One young alien engineer approached him privately. "Human," she said, "why do you not seek power? Why do you not destroy us when you could?" Ethan looked at her and smiled gently. "Because power is nothing without wisdom. Destroying others would make me no different than those who built this ship to kill. Humans survive because we endure, because we adapt, because we choose to learn. That is why the ship trusts me, and why we should all survive together." She looked at him with awe. "Your species, it is unlike any we have known." "Yes," Ethan said quietly. "We are small, but we endure. We make mistakes, but we learn. We are weak sometimes, but we never give up." The alien fleet slowly retreated, unwilling to test the Titan further. Word spread across the stars that a human had tamed the most powerful warship ever built and had not used it for conquest. Empires whispered, historians recorded, and civilizations watched in disbelief. Ethan guided the Titan through a series of maneuvers, demonstrating its ability to protect planets. He saved a small colony from a natural disaster, redirecting energy to stabilize a collapsing star. He repaired a damaged space station that had been orbiting too close to a black hole. Every action showed restraint, intelligence, and humanity's ability to survive against odds. Captain Mason watched in awe. "I don't know if the galaxy will believe this," he said. "But what you are doing, it is more than we imagined." Ethan nodded. "It is not about belief, it is about proof. We will show that humans are worthy, that we can endure, that we can protect, that we can rise without destroying others. The Titan chose me to demonstrate this, and we will not fail." Days turned into weeks. The Titan and Ethan moved across the galaxy, visiting systems threatened by war, natural disasters, or instability. He guided fleets to safety, repaired dying planets, and prevented conflicts from escalating. Slowly, stories spread. Humans were not just survivors. Humans were protectors. Humans were unpredictable, strong, and wise. The galaxy began to change. Civilizations that once feared humanity now watched carefully, curious and cautious. Empires reconsidered their strategies. Scientists studied human adaptability. Leaders wondered if the small species could truly rise above others. All because one human, chosen by a colossal warship, decided to protect rather than destroy. Ethan felt the weight of the responsibility every day, but he also felt hope. He realized that humanity's strength was not in weapons or fleets. It was in their will to endure, to adapt, and to choose wisely. The Titan was not just a ship. It was a mirror of that choice, a reflection of what humans could become if they held power with restraint. As he looked out into the endless stars, he understood the truth. The galaxy had underestimated humans for too long. It had expected them to fail, to fall, to be weak. But humans endured. And now, with the Titan by their side, they could prove that endurance was more powerful than fear, more powerful than weapons, more powerful than empires. The alien fleets watched from a distance, the councils debated, and the galaxy held its breath. One human had changed the balance, not by attacking, not by conquering, but by showing that even the smallest species could hold the greatest power responsibly. And Ethan knew that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, dangers were many, and challenges would come. But for the first time, humanity had a voice, a presence, and a champion. The Titan had chosen him, and through him, humanity would prove that they were more than small, more than fragile. They were survivors, protectors, and perhaps, in time, rulers not by force, but by wisdom and endurance. The galaxy had started to notice humanity in a way it never had before. Stories of the Titan and its human commander spread like wildfire. At first, many believed it was an exaggeration. A single human commanding a warship of unimaginable power? Impossible, yet the reports kept coming. Planets that were about to collapse were saved. Conflicts that threatened to destroy systems ended without a single strike. The Titan moved with precision, but only to protect. Ethan stood on the deck, watching the stars stretch endlessly ahead. He had learned to feel the ship's hum as naturally as his own heartbeat. The Titan had given him knowledge, strength, and responsibility. It had shown him how to control its systems without arrogance, how to defend without destroying, and how to make choices that would matter not just for humans, but for the entire galaxy. Captain Mason approached him. "They are still watching," he said. "Many fleets, many empires, they are waiting to see what you do next." Ethan nodded. "Let them watch. We are not here to fight. We are here to show that humanity can survive without fear, without aggression. If they attack, we will defend, but only then. Otherwise, we demonstrate restraint." The Titan shifted slightly, moving toward a cluster of neutral planets on the edge of a small star system. Ethan had detected instability there. A dying sun threatened to collapse and consume the planets orbiting it. He guided the ship closer, feeling its energy ripple beneath him. The panels on the deck showed real-time changes in gravity, heat, and energy flow. He began calculations, adjusting shields, redistributing power, and preparing to stabilize the system. The ship moved as if it were thinking with him. Energy flowed through the planets, stabilizing their orbits and preventing the collapse of the sun. For the first time, a civilization witnessed an ancient weapon not used for destruction, but for protection. Scientists, leaders, and citizens across nearby systems sent messages of gratitude, disbelief, and awe. They began to understand that humanity had become something new. Ethan turned to Captain Mason. "This is why the ship chose us. Humans endure, but we also protect. We adapt and we survive without destroying others. This is what the galaxy must learn." Mason nodded slowly. "I never imagined this. Humanity, maybe we are more than we thought." News spread faster than the speed of fleets. Entire empires sent envoys to observe the Titan. Some came with weapons hidden, hoping to test the humans' resolve. Others came with curiosity, seeking guidance, learning how humans had survived countless catastrophes on Earth and how they had persisted against impossible odds. Everywhere, Ethan demonstrated the same principle. Power without restraint was dangerous, but restraint with power could change the galaxy. One alien ambassador approached him boldly. "Human," she said, her voice trembling, "you have tamed a weapon that could destroy millions of planets. Why do you not use it to conquer, to rule?" Ethan looked at her calmly. "Because humans survive by choice, not by conquest. We endure because we learn, not because we dominate. The Titan obeys me because we understand restraint. Using it to rule would make us like those who destroyed civilizations before. We will protect, but we will not conquer." The ambassador hesitated, then nodded. She understood the truth. Humans were not the strongest species in terms of firepower, numbers, or fleets. Yet they were powerful in a way no one had predicted. They were clever, resilient, and capable of restraint even when given absolute control. That realization spread like a ripple across star systems. Ethan continued guiding the Titan. He repaired stations damaged by asteroids, stabilized dying planets, and prevented conflicts between civilizations that had long been rivals. Each action reinforced humanity's growing reputation. People began to tell stories of the human who could tame a warship of legends, the human who could change the course of stars without firing a single shot. Back on Earth, humans began to feel the shift. Governments and leaders no longer spoke of isolation or weakness. Citizens looked up at the stars with hope and pride. Humanity was no longer a small species hiding in a tiny solar system. Humanity had become a presence, a guardian, a force that others could neither ignore nor underestimate. Meanwhile, fleets that had once been hostile began to reconsider their positions. Empires that had relied on fear and aggression saw the strength in restraint. Some leaders quietly adjusted their policies. Scientists and engineers sought to learn from humans, studying their adaptability and perseverance. Diplomats attempted to negotiate with humanity, not out of fear but out of respect. Ethan felt the weight of it all. He had expected fear, hostility, and perhaps even war. Instead, he was witnessing a transformation. The galaxy was learning a new lesson. Small does not mean weak. Restraint can be more powerful than aggression, and one human could change the perception of an entire species. The Titan responded to Ethan's thoughts as naturally as he breathed. It was not just a machine. It was a partner, a teacher, and a witness. Together, they traveled from system to system, leaving behind proof that humanity could endure and protect. For the first time, humans had a chance to rewrite their place in the stars. One evening, as the Titan hovered near a vibrant, blue-green planet, Ethan stood on the observation deck. The light from the nearby sun reflected off the ship's massive hull, casting long shadows across the interior. He thought about all the humans who had come before him, who had endured hardship, war, and disaster. They had built, repaired, and survived. They had adapted when others would have fallen, and now their species had a voice that could echo across galaxies. Captain Mason joined him. "You know," he said quietly, "the galaxy will remember this. They will tell stories of a human who could change everything." Ethan nodded, his eyes on the planet below. "They will remember, yes, but more important, they will learn. Humans are not here to conquer, but to endure and protect. That is our strength." The ship hummed softly beneath them, a steady pulse of power and life. Ethan could feel it flowing into him, guiding him, giving him confidence and clarity. The Titan had chosen him, not because he was strong, not because he was brave in the traditional sense, but because he understood responsibility, restraint, and the value of life. Over the next months, the Titan became a symbol. Planets threatened by natural disasters were stabilized. Systems on the brink of war were guided toward peace. Civilizations once divided by fear and aggression began to cooperate, inspired by the actions of one human and a ship of legends. Humanity's reputation grew not through fear, but through demonstration of endurance, intelligence, and protection. Ethan continued to make careful decisions. Every action was deliberate, every move measured. He knew that a single mistake could destroy the trust he had built. Yet he felt no doubt. Humanity had survived wars, plagues, and near extinction. They had endured everything the universe had thrown at them. And now, with the Titan, they had an opportunity to show the galaxy that endurance and wisdom were as powerful as weapons. One day, the alien ambassador returned, this time not as a skeptic, but as a student. "Human," she said, "you have changed our understanding. We feared your species and now we respect it. How did you do this?" Ethan smiled faintly. "We survive by learning, by enduring, by choosing the right path. Power is meaningless without restraint." "That is the lesson we bring," the ambassador nodded. "Then your species is truly remarkable. We will tell others." The galaxy began to shift. Formerly hostile civilizations began forming councils, sharing knowledge, and cooperating to prevent unnecessary destruction. Humanity's influence was growing, not through conquest, but through wisdom and protection. The Titan's presence alone reminded everyone that one human could change the rules of power. Ethan knew that challenges would continue. Other threats lurked in the depths of space, and not all civilizations would accept humanity's new role. But he also knew that humans had shown their value. They were unpredictable, resilient, and capable of restraint even when given absolute power. That combination made them dangerous in the minds of those who underestimated them, but it made them guardians in the hands of someone who understood responsibility. As he looked out at the stars, Ethan felt hope. The Titan hummed beneath him, steady and alive. Together they had changed the galaxy, and together they would continue to guide, protect, and endure. Humanity's place in the stars was no longer uncertain. They had been tested, chosen, and recognized. The galaxy would remember that the smallest species could hold the greatest power, and use it wisely. In the quiet of the observation deck, Ethan allowed himself a moment of reflection. He thought about Earth, about his family, about the people who had struggled and survived in the face of impossible odds. They had prepared him unknowingly for this role. And now, he could lead humanity not through fear, but through endurance, intelligence, and protection. The Titan shifted slightly, as if agreeing. Its hum was steady, its presence undeniable. Across the galaxy, civilizations took note. Humans were no longer small, weak, or insignificant. They were protectors, survivors, and a species that could wield power without destruction. Ethan turned to Captain Mason. "We have shown the galaxy who we are, but our work is not done. There will always be challenges. We must continue to endure, to adapt, and to protect." Mason nodded. "And with the Titan at our side, we can face anything." Ethan smiled. He knew it was true. Humanity had survived everything so far. Now they would survive the galaxy itself. The Titan had chosen a human, and through that choice, humanity had proven that endurance, wisdom, and restraint could change the stars forever. As the Titan drifted silently through the void, its massive form reflecting distant suns, Ethan felt a deep sense of purpose. The galaxy would never forget this moment. Humanity had been given a chance to rise above fear, to show that even the smallest species could hold the greatest power responsibly. And they would not fail. The stars stretched endlessly before them, bright and infinite. Ethan took a deep breath, ready to face whatever came next. He was no longer just a human engineer. He was a guardian, a guide, and a representative of his species. Humanity had survived, endured, and risen. The galaxy had witnessed it. And for the first time, humans knew that their place among the stars was secure, not by force, not by conquest, but by proving that they could endure, protect, and rise above all expectations. The Titan and humanity had begun a new era, one that would be remembered in the galaxy for millennia.